Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kassandra Douglas coming at you live from Corbin University Times. Tonight, I have some breaking news as we discuss Disney making history with their film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They accomplished greatness with this film, setting an artistic blueprint and high standards for future generations of filmmakers. Inspired by the Brother Grimm's fairy tale of 1812 and the creative visions of David Hand, the storytelling of Ted Sears, and Ralph Hewlett's lead in cinematography, as well as the creative expertise in the animation team, Disney was able to make history as they provided America with the first feature-length film. This film was a huge risk. It was something that no one has ever done before. No one has ever seen this kind of filmmaking in America. They didn't know if it would be successful. They didn't know if they would lose the company from it. High risk, high rewards. It set the stage for a bright future in animation films, with icons such as Adriana Cassandra as Snow White and Lucille Laverne as the Evil Queen, and the many actors who brought joy to audiences. This film was truly mesmerizing and left a memorable impact on viewers. Cassandra paved the way for female voice actresses in Disney's film industry. Her young, sweet, innocent, high-pitched voice captured the essence of the Snow White character perfectly. Laverne, on the other hand, helped establish a memorable villain in the Evil Queen with her villainous nature. And the actors of the Seven Dwarfs brought diversity and humor to the film, with each possessing their own unique personality. This film was groundbreaking. It had intricate character and setting design, and the colors were placed in such a way that established a specific mood in the audiences, as well as told a story visually. And let's not forget about the dwarfs. As mentioned, they each had their own personality, which shined through with exaggerated facial expressions and movements. As far as the tech goes, this film was created from hand-drawn film using a multi-plane camera. This allowed artwork to be stacked and layered and moved at different speeds. It provided a more immersive look into each sequence, provided an illusion of depth, and a 3D effect. This helped create dynamic and engaging themes. The way the tech was used created high standards for the animation industry. Animations could now tell emotionally rich stories and turn novelties into art forms. It influenced generations of filmmakers, as previously mentioned. Its unforgettable charm, unique characters, and long-lasting music really paved the way to make this film truly iconic. As mentioned, the music and score was layered perfectly amongst each sequence. Songs like Hi-Ho, I-Ho, Off to Work We Go, and Someday My Prince Will Come are still sung throughout the world today. I know for me personally, I sing Hi-Ho, I-Ho, Off to Work I Go every time I'm off to work or practice or even school. And the music score from Frank Churchill was implemented amazingly. It was able to heighten the emotional impact of pivotal moments throughout the film. For example, we see Churchill's score implemented perfectly as the Evil Queen transforms into a witch, or during Snow White's death-like slumber. Now, let's take a look at the Evil Queen's transformation and listen closely to Churchill's musical score as it heightens emotions and intensifies this sequence.
Look! My hands! My voice! My voice! A perfect disguise.
The dramatic effects of the sequence paired well with the eerie musical score from Churchill, paving the way for the Evil Queen's villainous nature. The storyline also provided an emotional and dramatic effect upon viewers, also helping lead to how iconic the film became. There was a mix of innocent and dark sequences that told a compelling narrative. An example of each type of sequence is when Snow White's kindness shines through as she helps the dwarves live humanely, and in the evil queen's careful planning to kill Snow White, both when she sends her huntsman to kill her and when she carefully plans to poison her with the apple. Now that we have seen a little more of the background in the creation of Snow White, allow me to walk you through the storyline. So what is Snow White? Well, Snow White was a kind and beautiful princess. However, she was always being mistreated by her stepmother, the evil queen. The queen is envious and jealous of her. And when she interacts with the magic mirror, she is informed that she is not the fairest of them all. It is indeed Snow White. This makes her even more furious as she orders her huntsman to kill Snow White. Fortunately for Snow White, she is able to run away from the huntsman, escaping death, and finds a shack that is all tattered and torn up, all dirty and messy. Well, with some help of some forest friends, she is able to clean it and make it a habitable home. After a long day at work, she falls asleep when the inhabitants of the shack come home from work. 7 little dwarves. How iconic is that? They think a beast has run through their shack as they see it all clean and nice. And when they find Snow White sleeping, they realize that this beast is actually a beautiful princess. And her presence in the dwarves' lives, they're able to live in harmony as she teaches them companionship. However, back at the kingdom, the evil queen consults with her magic mirror once more, thinking that she is now the fairest of them all because she has the heart of Snow White in a box in her hands. However, the magical mirror reveals that Snow White is indeed still alive, living in the shack with the 7 dwarves. This infuriates the evil queen even more, and she creates a plot to kill Snow White herself. She disguises herself as an old hag and plans to poison Snow White with a poisonous apple. Once she finds Snow White and tricks herself into eating the apple, Snow White falls into a death-like slumber. When the dwarves find out about this, they try to avenge Snow White. As they're chasing the evil queen, she ends up slipping and falling off the mountain, leading to her own demise. When Snow White's love interest, the prince, hears about Snow White's untimely demise, he goes and visits her casket deep in the forest. Surrounded by her forest friends and the 7 dwarves, and now the prince, Snow White is surrounded by love. The prince is saddened by this view and goes in for a kiss. Soon after, Snow White wakes up. A true love's kiss broke the curse. And like every fairy tale ending, Snow White, the 7 dwarves, her forest friends, and the prince head back to the kingdom, and they live happily ever after. So now that we know what the story of Snow White is, what are some iconic sequences that make this film truly mesmerizing? We see Snow White fleeing through the forest, and the evil queen consulting to her magic mirror, and the transformation into a witch. The intricate design and the careful layering of each part of the film is what truly makes this film so memorable for many audiences across America and even the world. We also see the sequence at the end with the emotional buildup of the dwarves, the prince, and Snow White's forest friends as they are all huddled up around her casket. There are a few more memorable items throughout the film that should be discussed. These are the plot drivers. The first plot driver we see is the magic mirror. The magic mirror is a plot driver, or some may call an archetype, as it drives the queen's resentment. Without the queen finding out that she is indeed not the fairest of them all, we wouldn't have Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. We wouldn't have a storyline, or the storyline would be completely different. Who knows what the creative minds of the production team would have come up with. The input from the consultation from the magic mirror is what drives the evil queen's envy and jealousy towards Snow White as she tries to kill her. Another archetype that is important in this film is the poison apple. Without the poison apple, what other way would the evil queen try to kill Snow White? How would the evil queen be successful in her goals? Ultimately, we see that she was indeed not successful. But the poisonous apple was a key feature to ensure that the evil queen was successfully killed Snow White. And finally, the prince's kiss. This breaks the curse and awakens Snow White. Again, who knows what the creative production team would have come up with if they would have awakened Snow White or they would have let her keep sleeping. Who knows how the ending would have changed without the prince's kiss. Who knows if they would have ever lived happily ever after. This film was a very strong film, filled with universal themes, such as good trumping evil, or the pursuit of love and happiness, the importance of friendship, companionship, and teamwork, and, most importantly, as the evil queen found out, the consequences of jealousy and envy. With these themes, not only did this film bring memories and joy and suspense to audiences sitting and watching it at home, but for young kids, they see these themes, they learn these lessons, and it helps them know what to do if they are in a similar situation. I'm not saying that they're gonna encounter a witch and be poisoned and the witch is gonna try to kill them. What I'm saying is, what are they gonna do if they become jealous or envious of someone? Are they gonna strive to be the evil queen, or are they going to strive to be like Snow White, innocent and happy and full of love? I also would like to talk about the innovative and cinematic techniques used. For example, lighting differences and shadow effects helped efficiently establish a mood for each sequence throughout the film. Another important strength that we see in this film that should be noted is the synchronization of character movements. For example, the 7 dwarves mining. How perfect was that sequence? Each dwarf, while still having their own unique facial expressions and exaggerations, were in sync with their movements. Let's take a look at the synchronization of the dwarves in the video clip that follows.
Dig, 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 dig is what we like to do.
It ain't no trick to get rich quick.
If you dig with a shovel or a pick.
In a mine, in a mine, in a mine, in a mine, where 1,000,000 diamonds shine. We dig, 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 dig from early morn till night. We dig, 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 dig up everything inside.
Did you see the intricate movements of the dwarves as they are mining in sync with the song of this clip? Or the magnificent sparkles emitted from the diamonds? And it just truly, I can't explain it, how truly mesmerizing that was, how truly impressive that was. And especially knowing that these films were hand-drawn, who can believe it? There's a reason why this film is breaking news. It built the stepping stones for future animations and provided a rich experiences for all audiences, and not just children, but adults too. While this film was well built, there are some weaknesses. The main weakness we see is the controversies throughout the film. In 2025, we see a rise of female empowerment. And this film kind of goes against that, as we see the female being saved by a prince. That goes against the female empowerment standards that some may have placed upon animation films today. The storyline goes against some of the expectations some viewers may want to see out of films. Another controversy to note is the emphasis on beauty standards. But we have to remember that back then in 1937, everyone wanted to be beautiful. Everyone was trying to be like everyone else. Nowadays, we're focused on individuality and uniqueness. And you have to see through that. In this film, everyone's unique. Yes, she may have been saved by a prince, and yes, there may be an emphasis on beauty standards, but we do see values that we see in our culture today, in our generation today, with uniqueness and exaggerated personalities, and being ourselves, leaning on others, but also leaning on ourselves. Audiences have to remember that these beauty standards and these gender roles were appropriate for this time period in which the film was made. Another critique that we see is that some scenes may be too scary for children, especially since was advertised as a children's movie. For example, one of these scenes was when the evil queen wanted Snow White dead, and the huntsman corners her in the forest and raises his knife. This may scare children. Another part that may be scary for children is when the evil queen turns into the old hag. This may be scary for young kids, especially if they haven't seen a character like this before. In conclusion, the film's artistic presentation and storyline is what fuels its legacy, is what makes it iconic, and what makes it the memorable film it is today. It paved way for future generations of filmmakers and built stepping stones and the artistic blueprints as mentioned before. It is more than a film. It changed the world of animation forever, especially for America and the future for the Disney company. It is an inspirational film for all, as it introduces new realms of filmmaking and leaving a deep emotional impact on the viewers. Snow White is an inspiration to all, as it leaves a deep emotional impact on audiences and dives into new realms of filmmaking. All of America was very impressed with this film, and this is why this film is so iconic today, and why it is still being watched in 2025. Again, this film served as a stepping stone for generations to come, as well as creating high standards and potential in the animation industry. Because of this film, confidence grew in animation becoming a way of telling a story that is visually appealing and will leave a memorable, long-lasting, and impactful memory on all audiences. So I plead, please remember this broadcast the next time you turn on the TV and Snow White is playing. Don't switch it because you want to watch a newer film. Keep watching it so you can indulge in a piece of Disney's history. Be a part of history and indulge in the vision that David Hand had when they produced this film. It is a truly iconic, leaving so many impacts on our lives today. And remember, someday your prince will come too.